Wrapping up our week of fun stuff, let's look at web fonts. So here is my web font file. It's called fonts.html. Here's what it looks like in the browser. And I'd like to spice this up a little bit by making some nicer looking fonts rather than having my Times New Roman. I'm even sick of Verdana. Let's do something different. I've decided that up here I'm going to find a font on the internet and download it to my assets folder. And then on the bottom here, I'm going to use a Google Web Font. In fact, I think I'll do the Google Web Fonts first. So right now, in order to specify a font, for example, my body font, I would have to say font family, and then I would have to pick a font, like say Arial with a backup of sans serif. And then I save and I update in the browser and I change the font. So what we're about to do is instead of being locked into fonts that our browser may know about or that our computer has installed, I'm going to get one online from Google. And you can Google for it, or I think it's fonts.google, I forget, Google font, Google fonts, fonts.google.com. And you can look through and see what we want for fonts. They have some various things here. I'm going to stick with sans serif fonts and not handwriting fonts, not monospace fonts. And I might just have a quick look through here. So this will be my default body font. What do I like the look of? Fonts are so tough. I'm going to choose Poor Story. And Google's really nice because it shows you how to do it here by clicking the plus button, and it has one family selected. And then if you click on it, it shows you how to put it into your CSS. So you have a couple of different options. You can put a link to it, and this would go before your actual before your CSS. You can also use @import if it's inside a style file. So either one will work. The link tag, and some of it will depend on how easy it is to get at this. So for example, in WordPress, it might be harder to put a link tag into the head of your document than it would be just to add the import to your CSS, but functionally they work very similarly. So we have a style tag here, so I'm just going to stick the import up at the top of my style tag. And I'm going to just copy this, and then it has an example of usage here, font-family. Now I just use the words Poor Story and then a backup. They suggest cursive because it looks like it's more of a handwriting-y type font. Okay, so here we go, usually at the top of the style file before I start writing rules. I import that. And this could also happen at the top of a CSS file as well. And now in my body font, instead of doing this, I'm going to say Poor Story. Only reason I need quotes here is because there's a space in the font name. I could also use double quotes. It doesn't matter, as long as it has quotes surrounding it so the browser knows where the font name ends since it's got a space in there. My default, sure, we'll stick with cursive. And then I'll save, refresh, and it's going to take a minute to load the font, but then I have a new body font. Okay, in the next video, we'll see the slightly more lengthy version of how to get this font if I find one online and download it, not from Google Fonts.